Bristol Community College, Mathematics with Dan Avedikian, Math 060, Topics in Developmental Mathematics, Section 4.9, Problem 8. This is Section 4.9, Problem 8. It says Dean invests $8,000 at 8% interest compounded quarterly. How much will he have in 2 years? So for any of these problems, the first thing you need to do is decide which of the two formulas from this section you're going to use. There's a simple interest formula and a compound interest formula. This one mentions compounds specifically, so we're going to use a compound interest formula. It is A equals P times, in parentheses, 1 plus R over N to the N times T power. That's the formula. Now, as you fill it in, A is the amount that you get at the end of the investment. P is the principal or initial investment, which for this problem is $8,000. Start the parentheses. You have 1 plus R is the rate as a decimal. So 8% goes in as 0.08. You can't just put in 8. It has to be as a decimal. That's very important. And N is how many times you compound it per year. How many times the bank includes your interest, so it earns interest too. So it says quarterly. So that's 4. 4 times a year they put the interest that you earn into your account and it earns interest too. Close the parentheses. The exponent is N times T. So N, again, number of times compounded per year is 4 for quarterly compounding. Times T is number of years, time in years, so that's 2. So that's how the formula fills in. So now there's some order of operations going on here. You have a multiply, you have an exponent, you do have parentheses. Whenever you have parentheses, you need to do the work in parentheses first. But even within the parentheses, there's a divide and an add. You have to divide first. Let's start with that. A is 8,000 times 1 plus 0.08 divided by 4 is 0.02. These types of things you can do on a calculator. That I feel is easy enough. The exponent I can do now to 4 times 2, that's 8. Now to finish the parentheses, 1 plus 0.02, that's easily done. You can use a calculator if you want, but I think this is easy enough. 1 plus 0.02 is 1.02, and the exponent is 8. So now at this point, there are 2 operations left to do. There's a multiply, 8,000 times the parentheses, and there's an exponent, the parentheses, to the 8th power. So it's not 1.02 times 8. It's 1.02 times 1.02 times 1.02 8 times. And exponents have to be done before multiplications. Let's just do this. 1.02 times 1.02 times 1.02. There's 8 of them. I won't really even fit them all in. I'll just put dot, dot, dot. Oops, 1.02. So here's where it's good to use a calculator. Any teacher that I know of will let you use a calculator for this. It's just too much multiplication to do by hand. You can either multiply out 1.02 times itself 8 times with your calculator, and you will get the correct answer. Or if you're lucky enough to have a calculator with an exponent button, it looks like this on a lot of calculators. That up arrow, they call it a caret. You do 1.02 exponent 8 equals. On some brand of calculators, that exponent button looks like this. X to the y power equals. So that's what you have to do next, is the exponent. So the 8,000 will stay in the front of the parentheses for now, but you have to do those parentheses to the 8th power. So that I am going to do on a calculator. On my calculator, I make sure the screen is clear. Put in the 1.02, the base. Press my exponent button. It'd be one of these 2 on your calculator. Put in the 8, hit equals, and all those 1.02s multiplied together is 1.171659381. That's a lot of decimals, more than you need. For now, I'm just going to leave them on the screen. That's on the screen of my calculator now. And it's multiplied times 8,000. So I'll leave the number on the screen. I'll multiply times 8,000, and then I'll round it. So leave the 1.17 whatever on the screen. Do times 8,000. Make sure you have the right number of zeros. Equals. And the calculator says 9373.275048. That's what's on the screen. Now is when we can round it. This answer is money. So money more than 2 places after the decimal really doesn't make much sense. So look one position further to the right. It's a 5. That's big enough to make this a 28 cents. If it was 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, you just chop it at 27 cents. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you bump it up to 28 cents and then chop the rest. So the final answer, and since it's money, we'll use a dollar symbol, is $9,373.28. And that makes sense. These finance questions, you can kind of common sense them. So if somebody invests $8,000 and you say after so many years it grows to $9,300, that seems reasonable. So if you invest $8,000 for 2 years and it comes out to $1 million, you made a mistake. Or if you invest $8,000 and it comes out to $6,500 in a couple of years, you also made a mistake, for sure. So it's got to be, even if it said $8,600, that seems reasonable. $9,000, I mean, this seems something reasonable. So that's the answer.